Hello, hi, my good people. I hope you're good. So, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, today we are going to talk about my experience working in a rehab. So, sometimes back, I worked in a rehab, and what I experienced in a rehab, I said one day I'll share with you guys because these are things that we can even prevent. Being taking our loved one to a rehab, and we know a rehab is not like a fancy place to be, like a place where somebody will be like, I want to be in a rehab. It's a place where we find ourselves there. It's like being in a health facility, like if you're sick. And of course, not all of us, like almost all of us, we don't want to be sick. Of course, nowadays there are people who they want to fake sickness just to get the attention of you are be so right. So working in a rehab, it was a good experience. I learned a lot as a psychologist, and the things that I learned that now I want to share with us. And one thing I realized in a rehab, most people who are in a rehab, they tend to have a similar story. Majority of them is because of their childhood experience. And they will say like, my dad was not there for us, and my mom used to struggle a lot, and my mom did not have time for us, of course, because if you're a single parent, you're a single dad or a single mom, you will always be out here to look for how to take care of your children. So because of this, you not even have time for your children. So they'll end up staying with a nanny, or they'll end up stay with your relative. So you don't even know what they are doing. You don't even know what's happening in their lives. And by the time you realize your son or your daughter is smoking weed, by the time you realize your son or your daughter is an alcoholic, and now they need to take alcohol because they're preventing the withdrawal cyst. And now they need to take alcohol because of the withdrawal symptoms. So I see people come to a rehab and they feel sorry for their loved ones. You see, like this lady who she has done everything for the kids. And this story really touched me among many stories, but I'll share this because I'll not mention the person. Of course, you don't know the rehab, and you don't even know when I worked in that rehab. If you know, of course, you don't know the client. So this lady, she was married. They were having a happy family, and the man was there, of course, working. She's working, and they accumulated a lot of wealth together. They bought a piece of land in a very good place around Nairobi or Kajiado, let me say like that. So it's a good place, and they built a good house, bought a car, things were good. And then at some point, this guy started to have affairs out here with different ladies. Of course, there's no woman who will be comfortable like your man having a different people out here and you're good. So issues started one after the other. Of course, the man was now having a lot of stress because I always say, if you're a man, if you want to die, you don't need to go and look for a rope or look for what. Just have like three, four women in your life or two women in your life. This gender, we can take you to that septic tank without somebody pushing you or without somebody forcing you to die. Because now you are happy with this one lady, two kids, you are doing well, and now you decided because you have money and men are providers, you want to provide. So this guy decided to have another family. So it was not easy for this guy because when he decided to have the family, job ikaisha. So job kuisha, of course, he lost his job, and now it was hard for him to take care of the two families. But now you've already messed. The other lady wants money. This one wants money. So the guys decided to start drinking as a way of coping with the stress because now the love is not there. The plans that he had hazikwenda venye alikuwa amepanga, so ikamramba for lack of a better word. And now the first wife, let me call this one the first wife, and then the other one the second wife. but the other one was a side chick. So I'll just say the second wife because this relationship is the reason why even the guy lost the first marriage. So the first wife, uh, as they were buying these things together, the title deed, the logbook, and any other documents, they were under the husband. So the wife was just helping, maybe, you find someone who has bought a piece of land and the piece of land is under their name. When you help them to build that house, there's nothing much you don't have a lot of control unless the person decided to add you in that title deed. So it becomes a joint ownership. When that is not done, the person can wake up one day and sell the property without even your knowledge. So this is what happened. So this guy, he decided, because now he's jobless and he doesn't have source of income, and he wakes up this one morning and decided, I'm going to sell the house without the knowledge of the wife. So the guy went to look for a buyer, blah blah blah, everything, and one day this person walks in and says, I need to move into this place because this place belongs to me. And the wife was like, what is happening? And the guy was like, yeah, I've decided to sold that piece of land because it is my land and there is nothing you can do about it. Remember, this lady, of course, contributed to the building of this house. Kidogo kidogo, now they had to move to a rental. Of course, the lady moved out with the two kids alone and left the husband. So the husband decided to move to the other lady. And after some times, of course, the other lady was there for money. So money is not coming. You have eaten the money that you've sold your house plus your plot, plus a measure. So that lady kicked this man out. So the man was now a squatter in a slum place, just a single room, a Mabati house, because he didn't have anything. Between this time, the guy sold also the car because now the logbook was under his name. So the other side chick, or the second wife, by the time pesa ya plot imeisha, pesa ya gari imeisha, he decided, because now you are useless, you don't have money, you have eaten the money for the plot and for the car. Now this lady decided to ghost this guy. One day the guy went and found the lady as relocated. So that's the story. So what I'm trying to say is these two children, they were suffering a lot of trauma. They didn't understand what is happening in their family. Of course, they love the dad so much. And now the dad is not here. Things are happening so fast. Our dad is having an affair, kidogo kidogo. Our dad has sold the house, kidogo kidogo. We are moving out of this house. Now we are going back to rental and we need to rent maybe our bedroom house. And my mom is here frustrated. My mom is here bitter. So these kids, the only way they will cope, most of the firstborn, is by taking drugs. So this lady was in high school by that time. So he decided to take drugs. Of course, the mom was called in school and told that now your kid is going to be chased away of school because your kid has been found with bang. So the kid is being chased out of school and the kid was brought to that rehab where I was. And you'll see this kid will tell you, I'm here because of my parents. Things were good, but this is how I thought I could cope with bang and also with alcohol. But now, by the time this kid was being brought to the rehab, the kid was now an addict to alcohol. And the worst part was this kid was pregnant. And the boyfriend is the one who is selling the bang. So the boyfriend sells the bang and now they smoke together. Of course, the weed and everything and everything. It was just a whole mess. And now this lady, the mother, is trying to figure out life, starting from scratch again. The good thing is where she works, they were good to her. They gave her some money just to be stable here and there. So you find that the decision that was made by one parent, and this is the dad, has ruined the life of these kids. Because even the last born, she's not performing well in school. At some point, the mom was saying that she'll wake up and just cry. She'll wake up, she doesn't want to talk to anyone. She'll wake up and lock herself in the room. Why? Because they're trying to cope with this. All this is so heavy for the kids. They don't understand. Are they the problem? What is happening? Why did the dad choose to go and have another family? Are they not kids? Are they not important? Their dad don't love them. All these things are happening in their mind. And the only way, according to them, and the safe place to be is just to have a bad company and to start taking alcohol, just to forget about the moment for some times. So these kids, of course, the one that was in the rehab, she was like, for me, my desire is to see my parents coming back again and just having that family that we used to have, of which that was not possible because the mom said, I'm not going back to that man because by the time I was leaving, even the man was violent, of which we don't encourage people to stay in abusive marriages. So, another experience, of course, many experience, these kids will tell you, these people will tell you, it is because of what happened in our home that made me to be who I am today, that made me to land in a rehab. Another story, this kid, everything was being provided for. The mom used to take care of them. The dad was not working. But because the mom was abusing the father, like abusive words, like when you're Mwanaume, you need to go and work. Your fellow men are working, you're just useless. What make you, why you don't even like qualify to call yourself a man? So because of the instant abuse, this kid used to listen to what the mom used to tell the dad. And being that he's a male uh, child, he used to see how the mom will talk bad to the father, how the mom will cook, and they will eat before the father akuje. So atapika and then ataosha vyombo, and now they'll pretend like they've not eaten. So the mom used to tell him, keep quiet and don't tell your dad that you have eaten because your dad is useless and your dad haleti pesa. So we need to eat and then wash the utensils so that when your dad comes, he either brings the money or he will sleep hungry. So all this thing happening, this kid was trying to wonder why would a woman do this to someone that they call the love of their life. To cut the long story short, because I don't want this video to be too long, this child ended up not to date any woman because he was jobless and he was like, I cannot provide for a woman, I cannot take care of my family, and I don't want to go through what my dad went through. I don't want to come home and find vyombo ni safi and people pretend as if they have not eaten. So, of course, at some point in life, some of us we feel like we are so lonely, and the only way to cope, according to this child, was drugs, because drugs were cheap, or drugs are cheap. Most of if you buy in these ghettos. So he was like, I decided to take alcohol because I could afford alcohol. Of course, it's not like those alcohol that other people buy in big hotels. These are 20 bob, 10 bob, 50 bob. You're taking alcohol, and we all know this alcohol, like they're too more dangerous. So it was telling me that I'm here because I was jobless and I wanted to have a family. But when I remember what my mom used to do to my dad, I decided I'd rather take alcohol than have a family. Because unless I have a job, and we can see even in our nation right now, a lot of unemployment. So this guy opted to go for alcohol. He didn't know that this alcohol will turn to be addiction, that now he'll not survive without alcohol. So by the time he's in a rehab, even him, actually, most people in a rehab, they want to recover. They are crying for help. They want to stop drinking. But now they're addicted to alcohol and it takes time. So dealing with the cravings, dealing with the withdrawal symptoms, dealing with all these things and facing reality. So this young man tells me, yeah, I'm here because if after campus ningepata kazi, I'll not be here. I'll just go get married and have my own family and figure life out. But because I'm jobless, I decided to take alcohol because I don't want to go through what my dad went through. So my experience in a rehab is, us as parents, the decisions we make are the things that are landing our kids into a rehab most of the time. Another example, now this is a different one. If you're raising your child and you have money, God has blessed you, let your child know that nothing comes easy. So this one, he was raised in a good family, um, and everything was there for them. They didn't lack anything, but apparently the parents died through a road accident. And now the uncles who are there, of course, they took everything from them, and now they found themselves in streets because now they cannot have that good life that the parents used to provide. And by this time, This guy was around 28. Yeah. But at 28, the parents used to give him everything, being the only son and the first grandson. So the parents used to give him everything he wants. So it was hard for him to cope with now reality after losing the parents, because now he's used to be given everything, and now he's here being told you need to go to work for you to get that 100 shillings. You need to go do mjengo just to get 100 or 500 shillings. So coping with that was a challenge for him. And the only way he will cope with it is just to take drugs. And that's how he find himself in a rehab. And some of us as relatives were very cruel. We don't want to help this person. Maybe, okay, maybe they tried. I will say they tried, because some relatives, they are good, they'll try. But some relatives, they don't even try. They wait for you to go to a rehab. Now they will be coming to pay for that bill. But when you're asking them for money to start a business, they didn't give you. When you're asking them for money to go to uni, they didn't have the money. But now they have the money to buy for you medication because you're an addict. Yeah. Just pause and meditate, as the Bible says, Selah. So now, if you have a child or children and you are blessed as a parent, let your kids also work. Give them some small chores. If they want money for, maybe they want to go for vacation or something in school, give them a task. Tell them you're going to wash these utensils. Ukishaosha hizi vyombo, I'm going to give you a 50 bob. And then you tell them, out of this 50 bob, you teach them the act of saving. You buy a piggy bank and you tell them, if 50 bob set unaenda kukula yote, you save something for tomorrow. So that as they grow up, they know, I need to save something for tomorrow. As they grow up, they know nothing comes for free. I need to work for me to earn. And this will even help them to maneuver in life. If you are not there, or if you're not able to provide for them, as they go out there and look for a job, they already know that I need to work for me to earn what I want. So it will not be like hard for them even to be employed. It will not be even hard for them even to go and do manual jobs, because they are wired to that. So my experience working in a rehab taught me a lot. And I learned that the way we shape these kids, the way we raise our kids, will have an impact on them when they're adults. Again, as we are raising these kids as family, of course, no child will send you a letter to give birth to them. And children, most of the time, are always a fruit or outcome of two people who once loved each other. And of course, we know how people conceive. So there was love, unless it's a rape case or something different. Now that is a different case. But if you are born in a family, mother and father, some of them even discuss they want another child. So, parent, as you make decisions of divorce, separation, telling your kids about the other person, bad things about their father, bad things about their mother, you are not doing this so that they can love you. Actually, you are tormenting them. And you're making them even to make some bad decisions. You feel like if I tell them your father is useless, I'll gain more points. I'll be a good mom. You will love me more. No, you're just spoiling them, because you cannot cut them and remove the father's blood. You cannot cut them and remove the mother's blood. So if you have issues with your spouse, make sure that whatever decision you make it and remember you have children who are innocent. Because I was asking some, some people, like these people, they separated. It was a nasty divorce, bad things happened, blah blah, very bad, very toxic. And now the kids, of course, another story, ended in a rehab. And now when the kid ended in a rehab, now they're there as couples, at you have come to see our son, we have come. And this child was telling me, I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them. Why? Because they're the cause of me being here. Why are they coming together right now when my life is ruined? Why are they reconciling right now until they are coming here as couples to see me when I'm struggling with addiction, when I want to come out of this mess? And they're the ones who put me into this mess. So this kid was like, I don't want to see my parents. And he didn't see them. This is someone who was like 19 years, 20 years, just in campus, and now taking alcohol, and addiction and all that. So he was like, They could have reconciled when you are still in that family. Why did they have to reconcile now when my life is ruined? So sometimes as parents, even me, I was like, I even asked them in the absence of the kid because the kid said he doesn't want to see them. And I was like, what was too hard for you guys to work out your marriage that is now simple for you to come and see your son in a rehabilitation center? It doesn't add up. So before you make that decision of, I want to divorce you, I want us to separate, I don't want this marriage, I don't want what, you are an adult. But remember, the impact is something that you live with for the rest of your life. I'm telling you, this kid, we tried everything that we could try. The kid refused. I don't want to see my parents because they cannot tell me that right now they're together, they have reconciled, and they're the cause of me having this state, being in this state. They're the cause of me taking alcohol so that I can cope with their issues. So make sure that you don't separate because you feel like I have my own money, you have your own money, I have my own life, you have your own life. And then later on, you use all the money, yours plus his, to pay for your children a rehab. It doesn't add up. So if it is something that you can solve, kindly solve. If you cannot solve it, look for a profession, look for a psychologist like me or any other psychologist, somebody who is neutral, somebody who is not a relative. Let that person hear both sides and see how you guys can be helped. Don't go to your relative to like sort your marriage. Most of the time it doesn't work because blood is thicker than water. If I tell my sister I'm suffering in my marriage, she will side with me. If you tell your brother you are suffering in your marriage, your brother will side with you because ni damu at the end of the day. So look for someone who is neutral, someone who doesn't know you guys, someone who will keep your secret, someone who is there for the better of the marriage, not for the better of the husband or the wife. Someone who is able to say, by the way, this part you did not do right, and you, this part you did not do right. You understand? So that you don't separate and then reconcile because your daughter or your son is in a rehab and you are coming there with gifts and everything. They don't need those things. Actually, this one was so bad. Like, he didn't eat anything from the parents. And he was like, I'm just here because of my uncle. And I'm here because my uncle has taken me as his own son. And the uncle will come and he will talk to the uncle. But the parents, he said, I don't want to see those people. Actually, he was saying those people. Me, I don't have parents. Because if they were my parents, they could have sorted out their issues and I could not be in this state. So those are some of the few things that I can share, my experience working in a rehab. And I hope if you are watching this video and you're a parent, maybe you're in that point where you wanted to make that decision and you feel like this is something that can work out, kindly reach out. If you're a man and you feel like this marriage is not working because maybe I'm not able to do my duties as a man, maybe I lost my job or something happened, or maybe I messed up, or mambo ni mengi, just reach out and God will help you. I always say, there's nothing new under the sun, not me, but the Bible says. So it means whatever you are going through is not unique, is not new. Some people have gone through it and they have overcome. So don't see it as a mountain. The reason why you are seeing it as a mountain is because you feel like you are the only person who's going through that. So let's save our kids from going to a rehab. Let's save our kids from this addiction. Let's always remember whatever decisions we make as parents is affecting our children. You might not see it because you feel that they are young. You might not see it because you don't see any sign of them reacting, but deep down it's really affecting them. I have the last story, and this one is about this kid who the mom used to bring men in the house, different men. And one day, he came back home around 5 a.m. He was working somewhere, and this was the time he was doing the night shift. But apparently, something happened, so the colleague came earlier. So the colleague went for a dunda in town. And dunda is like went for a party in town, and the party ended earlier. So the colleague decided, instead of me going home, let me just go to work so that I can relieve my colleague. So the colleague came and Now, this boy went home and he found the mom having sex with another man in the sitting room. That's how that kid ended up in rehab because the torture was too much for him. And he said the mom doesn't respect them because the dad left, and now the mom was that mom who used to talk bad about the father. But now this kid was able to know, you are the bad person, not my dad. And this kid from that time, smoking, banging, taking alcohol, smoking weed and everything, just to cope with what is going on at home. And he was just there telling me, I always, even if I'm here, I'm always worried about my younger brother because they're two sons. And he decided to reach out to the dad so that the dad will tell them where he is. They want to go stay with the dad and they don't want to see their mom again. So that relationship is broken. So those are some of the things, some of the experience I experienced in a rehab. So this lady, you have lost your husband, you have lost your marriage. Now, the painful part of life, you have lost your children. Why? Because of the decision that you make, that you decided to bring men in the house. And these are kids, they are growing and they're seeing what you are doing. When they are grown up, they now know who was bad and who was right. When they're young, you can bring for them gifts and they feel like you're the good person because they don't, at that point when they're young, they don't value school fees. They don't think about it, who is paying rent. That is none of their business. For them is who is bringing me goodies. But when they are now old and mature enough, they'll be able to see. And now this lady lost the kids like just like that. And I'm telling you, even the lady is now an addict because she can't imagine losing the kids after staying with the kids for like 3 years after separation. So if you have learned something from this, kindly put it into practice so that we save our children not to end up in a rehab when they are adults. So that we save our children not to end up in bad things when they are adults. Uh, Next time, or one of these days, I'll share about my experience also interacting with prisoners. So for now, thank you so much for watching, and I pray that God will help us to be a blessing and not to be the source of other people's tears, not to be the source of other people's suffering, but to be the source of other people's joy and blessings. So for now, thank you for watching and bye bye.